Okay, hi. Here we are. Here we are again.
Here we are with Ash.
I have to make sure I get in mom proof. The art of being comfortable with the uncomfortable. That is why we started. That's why we're here, because we wanted to talk about teens and how we have to be uncomfortable sometimes, but you have to be okay with it. So welcome back, Ash.
Thank
I know
you.
we were just chatting a few minutes ago, taking a quick break. It's so cool to have you on here. We're back in the cool thing. I feel like that should be a bing, bing.
Yeah, cool. What are your kids' names?
I thought you said, what do they call me? I was like, weird.
We're weird. We call her cool.
Emma and Henry.
See, Emma and Henry, your mom's so cool.
Yes. I say that because there's such a good vibe and energy. And with some people that you're around, there's different feelings. And I think when we're all together and we've just become better friends as time has gone on, we learn more about each other. And there's that sense of it's a good energy and vibe, which I would classify as cool. And that's you too. Especially when I came in today to start the podcast. We were running a little bit late and Sandra's sitting over there in the middle like this. Completely quiet. I said, "Are you okay?" Just being quiet. And you had just mentioned about you're going to save your things. Like that's your next, not your next painting. I asked what you would call a painting right now. And you said savor, just savor the moment. Yeah. Savor the time we have together. I love kind of leading off with that.
Yeah.
Because getting here, traffic was crazy. Life is crazy. If we just take that moment and really slow down sometimes and reflect and think about the good that's going on. If we could get our kids to do that in the midst of their craziness.
Right.
Just slow it down. It's hard to do sometimes.
It is hard to do. But, when I walked in, I was just sitting there and I was thinking we were going to see Ash. And I was really excited because I haven't known you very long at all. Yeah. But every time I talk to you, I just leave so excited because of your energy. And then when we get together, there's so much energy, right?
Just those nights.
In a positive way, not in a... I come out feeling so good. I tingle.
I think when you're around positive people, people that want to do good in the world and have like minds, that your life gets better. And I think what you do with Hopefully So is incredibly special. And the world wouldn't be the way it is without folks like you doing that. So for you to be helping teenagers, which, by the way, I don't want to forget, make sure listeners, friends, parents, and anyone that's watching, go look for you. Go look for Hopefully So. We'll put a website link in so people can support your wonderful work. But you're dealing with teens that are really, they don't have what our kids have. And the ages are normally from what to what. And if there was one thing that you could help them out with and make sure every teen in foster care had, what would that one thing be? Because I know for Cambodia, I would say I want to make sure every single kid in our schools has the love from a teacher that they deserve, to know that they are important and competent. Like that kind of, So the teens that we serve are 13 to 18. And if I wish I could give every single one of them a loving family. That would be the hope. I always say the hope is that Hopefully So and other organizations are out of business. That would be the hope, right? That we were no longer needed. But that's what I would wish is that all of them could be in a loving family, for sure. That would be so awesome.
Yeah.
Every time I say I'm not going to adopt.
But thank you. I do have to say thank you to both you ladies, because you're talking about my energy, but you both have welcomed me just with open arms and invited me places and done things and all of that. And I'm just reflecting what you're putting out. So I just got to tell you both thank you. Thank you for having me here. Thank you for the places you've invited me and just being so open. It's really awesome. It really helps build community and connection and energy.
And the other day when we were talking, because how we got together here, right? Is we were just, Jamie always hosts Women Wine Wednesdays.
Yes. I don't know why we come up with all these words. It's hard for me to say it anyway, but let's just push it.
Let's just do some tongue twisters.
Triple W.
But so we were just chatting, just having normal conversation, and you started talking about what you do and how you help out the community. And my passion is young adults as well, and Jamie, with her stuff that she does with the CFC and stuff, and staying bothered. And in my mind, I just kept thinking, wow, what a beautiful conversation to be having right before Thanksgiving about being grateful and the things that we do take for granted. And even, I can say myself as a parent, like I take for granted my situation with my children, and that they're safe and that they're loved and that they have people around them in our community that love them so much, and you're right when you say if you could give a child something, I mean, I think that's just the most important thing you can give them is support and love, and for them to have someone in their lives that are wanting to work with them the way that you've worked with them and the way these foundations are working with them. That's beautiful, because maybe that 10, 30 minutes during the day of the days that you work with them is maybe the most that they're getting, but it could be something that they reflect back and think about that and helps them push forward to be successful.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hope. I mean, hopefully so. The hope, it is, we do try to meet practical needs, and we do the art, and we do the driver's license and try to aspire, but in that short time, at the end of the day, the hope is, I hope you know that you're amazing and you matter and you're loved and you're, all these things. But, it's tricky. So we just try to get creative and hopefully provide safe spaces for creativity and to feel accepted and loved, and just for a short little time in their life,
Yeah. Now, in your work, I'm sure you've heard, do you get insights? Because I know a lot of that stuff is very private as to what happens to kids once they age out and whatnot. But have you come across, besides the young lady that you talked about that worked at the hospital, but have you come across other stories or other things that you've heard where kids have become, gone past everything they've gone through as young teenagers, and then despite that gone off to college, and I'm asking because now we're in a time where all of our teens or teens in our community are really stressed about college and what colleges to apply for and get in, and we take for granted that some kids don't even have that opportunity.
They don't get to do that,
and there's no one telling them, hey, you're going to college, hey, you're going to be successful.
Yeah. Well, two things. One, yes, I can think of quite a few kids who've gone off and done well and who've created their own loving families, which is like the ultimate thing. To say, I didn't have this or I wasn't taught this, but to know that they created that. They created a loving family for their own children and, started their new life, I feel like is huge, huge. So that, and then of course I know quite a few who've held down really good jobs, but it's funny that you talk on the college thing. Well, and the ultimate success, Stacy Johnson, who she is founder of Central Table of Grace. She aged out of care and was emancipated, and she runs that entire shelter.
Fantastic. Way to go, Stacy.
Yeah, so she's a force in nature. If you ever want to connect with her, I'll be happy to connect you. So, but she, of course, we didn't serve her. We're like, but I'm just saying she's gone on to do amazing things. But it's funny that you talk about college, because it's been so heavy on my heart. There's a huge problem with aged out youth in care right now. There's a big issue when kids are aging out or there's not enough facilities set up to handle aged out youth. So for example, whenever, kids in a family go to college and say they mess up and they need to come home for a minute, they do. But when a child has aged out of care and they mess up and they need to come home for a minute, what does that look like?
Where do they go?
Where do they go? And they're still learning to get on their feet, and they need that space that a lot of kids have from 18 to 21 to mess up. You got to they mess up, and they go, oh crap, I messed up.
Yeah.
And I have something to fall back on. And so it really is, I won't go on and on about it, but if you have time and you're interested, definitely research aging out. There's a big need. A lot of people are stepping up to the plate here in Austin to do something, but it is definitely an issue. And if you are a college kiddo and you have a landing spot, thank God and your family, because it's amazing to have that, to have that space to mess up and have somewhere to go and all those things. I don't know.
I haven't had, well, that's not true. Cherry did. No, that's not, I haven't had one kid that did. Sorry, Cherry, I love you. But, I mean, you didn't mess up, but none of my kids graduated in the 4 years. Everybody had issues. I can't imagine having a young adult not knowing that they have a safe place to go back to. Mm-hmm. That's tough. Mm-hmm. In today's day and age, I guess there's so many resources out there, the safe place and different organizations. It seems like there would be something there. I mean,
there is some there, but there's limited beds.
Yeah.
So the problem is bigger than what we have. And so Stacy at Table of Grace is working really hard to build a whole program just for these youth and provide them a safe environment, because there are like homeless resources and things like that around Austin. But with young adults, they're still trying to figure everything out, you know.
Oh, gosh, yes.
And they can be a very vulnerable they're very vulnerable, and it's just kind of messy. And so she's working really hard to try to bring more beds and more areas out in Round Rock for aged out youth that find themselves in these situations, because she's finding it as well. Like, they've been in her shelter when they were 15, 16 years old. They go on, and then they're calling her back. You know, they're over in Houston, Texas, or they're out in Dallas, and they need somewhere to go. And she's like, I'm limited, you know? So it is an issue, but it just, while we're talking about being grateful, just, you know, those of us that have those landing spots, to just be very grateful.
And is there, like, for anybody who's out there listening though, but is there, because I know there's a lot of scholarships and a lot of grants that go unused. Mm-hmm. And I know, like we're in a couple of weeks, we're going to have a guest who just did a startup, and that's what he's doing is he's launched an app, and you actually go in, put your details in, and you can research scholarships and stuff like that that don't get used, right? And the money's just sitting there. But is there like a place that these kids go to and look for help to kind of, because it's hard to navigate, even as us as parents, it's hard to navigate the system and see what money's out there and what not. But to help them out, is there a place that they get to go to? Is there like a counseling place that helps them out to kind of do the research, or do they just have to do it on their own?
Research for places to live, or
no,
research
for like for college. Like if they decided
if they're
to move
still
on.
in care, they'll have like a case manager or a PALS worker or something like that. So yeah, they definitely get supported, especially if they're in any of these programs, like they call them transitional living programs. Mm-hmm. So if they're at, you know, the settlement home, or they're at Safe Place, or they're at Central Table of Grace, they have a wonderful support network there, for sure. So they'll help them. They're all amazing organizations, and they're doing great things for these kids.
What would we do without all these people that do that? I think it's so fantastic.
They're amazing.
We just keep on. So how do your kids like you working like this? What do they think about it? They think you're weird. We think she's cool.
Weird. Do you mean in the foster care realm, or do you mean just like in art, or
maybe a combination? I mean, it's something unique. You're not.
Yeah, you're not what we call typical.
Yeah. You're so sweet. I feel like they don't really know any different, but it's multiple things. For my kids, they know quite a few of the kiddos that I've worked with in foster care, because they know them as just our friends, and they have some good relationship with some really good kids, teenagers, you know, and so they don't know. They're a little bit aware, but not so much. But I do incorporate them on the back end. So, and around the holidays, we pack stockings. So we pack 100 stockings for teens in care. And so they help pack those. And I try to explain that, who they're serving and all of that. So I don't know. I think they still think I'm weird, but they're very kind. I'm trying to think if they think anything like.
I think my kids got me that T-shirt last year. Like, a weird mom is a good mom. Maybe it was, and then took forever, but your kids are younger, so.
Well, it's funny you talk about the shirt. I really, when she said weird, my daughter, she's 8, you're weird. And I was like, okay. And, they were joking about it. Well, then a couple days I wore a shirt that said, I'm not weird, I'm a limited edition. And it's something I paint in, like I just paint in it, And then Erwin, my husband, goes, Emma, look, your mom's wearing a shirt that says she's not weird. She goes, the fact that she's wearing a shirt that says she's not weird makes her even weirder.
Oh, now that's a bright girl. There we go.
Yeah.
That's a future little, I was going to say a little badass.
I do hope to, I just want them to be more aware of multiple things. People that have maybe less than we have, whatever that may look like. I want them to be aware that they can make a difference. Even where they're at with what they have.
Yeah.
You can make a difference, so.
People often ask me about sending kids over to Cambodia, doing these group trips and that, and parents will say, well, what do you think is the right age? Should I wait till they're 10 or my answer is right now. Mm-hmm. Right now. My kids were going to Cambodia from the time they were 18 months old and every 5 weeks. I think you can never have that conversation too soon with the young one to say, not everyone has what we have and it isn't stuff.
Yeah.
It's different challenges. And when we give back to those in need, it's really, as we've said, doing more for us. It's teaching us that we are not that important, that we shouldn't give more than even what our hearts can give. You can max it all out. Mm-hmm. And there are times where you just think, and I know I have with CFC, it's just daunting. And there's so much that goes wrong, but there's so much that goes right.
Yeah. And I think when you see a younger, so my daughter being so young, when I watch her light up by that she's having so much fun with whether she's with some of the kiddos with us, or she's packing a stocking, or she's excited to give this stocking because she knows a couple people, or she's really excited to see a lot of them and play, whether we're doing things, activities. When you watch her light up, you see like the innocence of how it really affects us that are serving, in a sense of it blesses us. Like they give us so much more. It really just like circulates, because she's too young to even understand any of it. Yeah. She doesn't really know the dynamic of the background or anything. She just is like, oh my God, it's Sandra. I'm so happy to see you. Or later, Mom, what are we packing this for? Is it for Sandra? Is she going to be there? Yes, Emma, and so to see that it's just so good to plug them in a little bit, Yeah.
That's her job.
Yeah. So tell us, because your pants, you can't see you. Not everybody can see you, but so Ash's pants are all full of paint. And so you were coming from Nordstrom's. And can you tell me a little bit tell us what you were doing?
Because I'm so weird. So I've been working as an artist for 17 years. And the more successful I became in my gallery partnerships and working with galleries. So I'm up to about 12 or 13 different galleries throughout the U.S. now. So the more and more I started working with galleries, the more isolated I became because I have all this work that's due. Like today, I think we just sent 17 works of art to Miami by Crate.
Oh, wow.
And I have art that will go down to West Chelsea on Monday. But the more and more I did this, the more I needed to be alone in the studio to make paintings. And then my kiddos went off to school. And I decided this is so isolating. And I think after my father died, I realized that I can't be alone. I really realized how much we need each other, whether we like each other or not. Even at Thanksgiving, you need to be there. You need your family. You need that interaction. And so I really thought, what can I do? I've got to change this up. I've got to shake it up. And so I just thought, well, why not paint in public? Why not just go paint sometimes and sit and interact with people? And so the manager at Nordstrom's amazing. I started doing it last year, and I'll just pop up a couple times and I just take my easel and a painting and I just sit and chat. And around the holidays, it's really fun because there's a lot of people. And so I just will go and paint for a couple hours in some different places.
I want to try that.
Yeah.
It's really fun. It's really interesting.
You know what I love that you said? You recognized that you were in a space where you could potentially help yourself to feel better, feeling isolated, and you got to shake it up. And sometimes we have to do that. And I think as humans, we get in that pattern of doing the same thing, and doing things different is something sometimes scary, right? But fear is nothing but,
well, you say it out there, being comfortable, being uncomfortable, it's definitely interesting and it's fun, but it's good, it's really good.
Well, awesome.
Yeah.
I think that we should do something and shake it up. What do you think? I don't know. We're getting in the same habit of this podcast, Sandra.
Could you pop up somewhere with your podcast? And
maybe we'll sit and talk to you.
Yeah, Nordstrom.
And be like, hey,
moms.
Ash, what is this? Yeah, we could. We
never
definitely
know.
take it out there. That's right. Who are the guys that go do the funny stuff? I don't know. All the kids know, like, check YouTube. How many followers do you have?
Yeah.
I think we have 3. I don't know. I'm just doing this for fun. It works.
No, we're growing.
Way to go. It really is all about just trying to inspire others and sharing what we've learned and hoping that if you make a difference in someone else's life somewhere, somehow, then job well done. Yeah. The world is in a very ugly place right now. And I think it's super important for us to maybe reach a little further, look a little harder to find some good. So what's a message that you would give to someone that's thinking about starting an organization? I get that question all the time. What would I get? Yeah. How do you feel about that? If someone to say, I really want to start something on my own. I've been wanting to do this. It's, what would you say? And this is probably going to change through your NGO career. At different times. I know 20 years ago for me, I said something different than I would say today. So,
pray for the right people. Hopefully so came about because it wasn't like I had this genius idea. All these people came together and we were just serving one cottage, and it was our church group at Riverbend, our community group. And we took this, I'm going to give an example, but I was doing art and as just a volunteer, and my husband as well. We didn't have kids back then. And then our church group started volunteering, and it was kind of this interesting scenario back then. We took this one cottage to go bowling, and we're feeling all good. But whenever we returned, there's 4 other cottages that didn't get to go bowling, and they're all outside. And we're like, oh crap. They're like, hey, why we want to go? And we're like, oh boy, okay. And then we just started learning about, foster. None of us have a background in foster care or anything like that. And so we just started learning about the different facilities. And what we learned is that a lot of the kids go to all the different facilities. So we started learning a lot. But, we had the desire in our heart to do more. And we had that conversation. And in that community group was a CPA and an executive assistant and an attorney. And everybody kind of came together and was like, I don't know that I necessarily want to be on the board or I want to be a part of it, but I'll help get this thing started. And we literally hosted, it was $600 to become a 501c3. We had people in the church group that donated items for a garage sale. One woman hosted a good old-fashioned garage sale. We all came together, and the organization was built. And so I think that my advice would to be open and pray for the right people. It's going to be a community experience, and it's going to be beautiful. You don't have to have it all figured out and have all the resources. It's an opportunity to let people come together. And I in the beginning, I really tried to do everything on my own, and I realized that I was missing out on so much by not depending on more people and allowing more people to kind of be a part of it. But it's community.
And that's good advice.
That's really
you have
key,
to ask for help. People should ask for help. Yeah, surround yourself with good people.
No, that's
I was
awesome.
just talking to my son about that the other day. Toxic people don't get to have a space in your life.
Yeah.
You choose, though. You have to choose. Surround yourself with people that you love.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's a question we can end on? Ash, you've been awesome. Thank you for taking the time to come do this.
I know.
We love just an excuse to chat and share. So when we get to do it with people that are really special, it makes it even better.
Definitely.
I love this job.
Well, thank y'all.
Can I have a raise?
Yes. You can.
One more follower. Okay, so what's a question we should end with?
I don't know, Ash. What kind of question do you want to ask?
Ooh. Don't you love how we prepared you for this?
Okay. What is, well, you may have told me this, but with the art of being comfortable, being uncomfortable, like what is your why? Like what made y'all want to do this? Like,
Yeah.
You could be having margaritas on a patio right now.
Right.
Why
and it's too hot. That's
yeah. Like why are y'all passionate about this?
I think what we really started to notice as parents and moms sticking together, going through really tough times. Sandra and I went through divorce right around the same time. Other things were happening that were not comfortable. And you have to get to a space where we wanted to teach our kids that, guess what? Life is not just, daisies all the time. You have to say, okay, something's not right. We're going to get through it. And we're just going to be comfortable with feeling uncomfortable. And there was a lot of discussion with that between ourselves and then our kids. Like, you're going to have to, this doesn't feel good. There was a lot of rejection. There was a lot of very low confidence with what were they going to do in their life that senior year.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
It was such a stressful time, for the child or young adult and the parents, whether you're single or married or any situation. Yeah. That's why I can't even imagine these kids. But, I'm always like, I want to do something. It's always been in my heart. And it's always been to work with a certain age group, just because I feel like that youth, that time when you're young and you just like, sometimes you feel like things are just impossible. And then you could just, if somebody could just inspire you, and it could be just a word, it could be anything, just to spark, right? And I just kept kind of going over my head. And then, I was like, I know Jamie had the same, and Kathleen, like we were all working, like you said, but we came together and I was like, what if we do this? What if we just put ourselves out there and start talking about stuff? And whether, we spark a parent or we spark a kid, then we could just get conversations going about things that are uncomfortable that people don't want to talk about. And we can all grow together as a community, So it's kind of like, we felt like it was like going to a coffee shop, like talking
discussions
to our friends.
we all had anyway with our experiences. And I mean, I always say I spent millions of dollars. Do I say millions? Yeah. I feel like it's thousands of dollars on therapy through the years.
Oh, amen.
So, hey, we're sharing it.
Yeah.
Well, I love that. So thank you for doing that, because I think in a time where we're in a social media realm where everything has to be perfect, or we can't present it, or we can't invite you over.
Yeah.
I don't want to invite you over. My house is a mess, or I don't have this, or I'm not ready for that. In a time where I feel like perfectionism is kind of jeopardizing some beautiful connections or moments. Thank y'all for just being so transparent with your mess and where you're at, or your pain, but to be so transparent and say, like, here we are, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going to share it and put it out there. It allows other people to be more human and connect,
we hope so. We hope as time goes on.
And for your kids to know that pain is okay. Like, I know that I feel like at my age, I know pain can be very purposeful. But I think as a mom, it's hard for me to allow my kids to feel pain. There's always this thing of like, don't let them feel, So that's really amazing.
Important.
It's so important.
Yeah, we want to save them, but we're not really doing that much good.
It's
let them,
awesome.
Let them
look back on that. Like, that's amazing.
Yeah. Well, awesome. I'm so glad we got to talk to you.
This has been
fun. We're going to wrap. So happy Thanksgiving.
We're going to show up at Nordstrom's.
Yeah.
Yes. I'll let you know when. I'll let you
Check it out. Hopefully so. The amazing Ash Almonte.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right.
Thanks.